夜中に蹴り飛ばしたらごめんなさい。
大丈夫か？ジャンヌ様の護衛だもんな。寝ている場合じゃないか。
Episode 5, Why Does Nobody Remember Me? Once again, I'm kind of left disappointed with this episode. I think for me, the highlights definitely in this episode was Kai's relationship with Rene, Kai's relationship with Jean. In this world, the Jean or Genie, however you want to call her, of this world, you know, sleeping together, you know, cuddling, you know, all those things. I think, you know, that's the highlight of the episode, is definitely Kai getting closer to these two girls. The other portion, or the other, I guess, interesting, I don't know if it's something that I'm pleased with, but the other interesting subsection is we met Vanessa, so the hero of the demons. We met her sister, who's also a succubus, who seemingly is like also on like a power scale, like very similar to Vanessa, at least based on what Kai's words were. And her basically claiming two things. One, that one day she'll come back and give our boy Kai the tuah. But then the second thing is she also, you know, kind of put out there an agreement with the humans of like, okay, we'll let you have this land that you have just recently reclaimed, but like all these other portions, that's the demon still. Which, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't sound too crazy, because, you know, at the end of it, this world still has to be shared, regardless of who's at the top of the food chain. This world still has to be shared between, you know, the demons, between the humans, between, you know, elves, dwarves, like all the other different races, and all the other different, you know, races that are above the world. Like, no matter who wins, quote unquote, these other races, they just don't go extinct. They still exist. So it makes sense for them to come and get into an agreement with the demons and say, okay, yeah, okay, we're gonna, you know, occupy this portion of whatever, because this was previously the humans, and you guys can have this, and, you know, we'll have, and, you know, they enter this dialogue and conversation just like you would in the real world. If you had this other country invading another country, you know, they would come into an agreement and say, okay, these are your lands, here's the leader, you know, or they're going to establish a leader, and this is, you know, it's just kind of like how normal, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word is, but it's kind of just normal takeover, you know, things of like, you know, this one race, because these other races, they just can't simply, you know, demolish them. They're going to exist still. So that makes sense. And I do like that. What I don't like about the episode is they're now going into a celestial place. The first thing that I wasn't originally going to mention at all, I was just going to kind of let it go, but I just seemingly can't. At this point, the humans won against the demons truly because of luck and because of Kai and Rene, right? And if you remove Kai and Rene, even in the situation where they had to go and they faced off against the dragon, they were able to deter, or they were able to, you know, immobilize the dragon for a time for it to run away, because of Kai and because of Rene. You remove them, and it very much seems like the humans are fighting a war of guns with sticks and stones. And I have a big problem with that. And it's one of those things to where I really despise anime where you begin to use some of your brain and you really begin to think of the why. You know, just like everything else in the world. You watch a show, you watch a movie, you read a book, and you begin to go like, okay, well, this doesn't make sense, or like, why is it doing this? Or like, you start asking yourself questions, and because of curiosity. And I think once you become curious and you begin to see or find answers, you're like, this doesn't make sense. So what doesn't make sense to me at this point is, why would they mobilize so quickly to go fight the Celestials when they barely won against the demons? And if you remove Kai and Rene, they don't have a fighting chance. So then they're now going to go fight these Celestials, which is just a group of dwarves and elves and whatever. And their specialty is making weapons and stuff like that, to where the humans kind of had to use some of their technology in their top leaders like Gine. So if they have a full army of people who are utilizing these kinds of weapons where it's few and far between on the human side, it's like, again, it's like you're throwing somebody with you know, with a bow and arrow to somebody with a machine gun. They're just going to get decimated. The only key to that is the key holder, which is Rene and Kai. But they can't win a whole war on their own. Even if they go and defeat the celestial hero, it's not saying that the celestials are just going to go like, oh, you got us. You know what I mean? Like, they're still going to go fight the war. So my second thought of that is like, okay, they shouldn't have rushed to go fight this war, even if the human, you know, people were asking for it. They should spend some time and research. They should figure out, you know, Kai definitely brought some specific technology here. He's gonna run out of bullets and stuff like that. It's like they should figure out how to replicate that kind of magic and or that those kinds of weapons. They should figure out how to, you know, replicate that kind of firepower. But essentially right now they're going into a dragon fight with little bullets that don't do anything at all. So I don't know. I just, again, if you begin to think about it, it starts to fall apart. And that is always a big pet peeve of mine with anime. You should be able to think and theorize and it deliver or it not fall apart completely when you begin to do that. So that's kind of a big pain in the rear. And then the second thing specifically about this episode is very early on, they go and they find this other encampment where you have this fat piece of shit at the beginning at the helm who thinks he's king of, I don't know, this like enslavement human camp or some shit. Basically, it's a bunch of, you know, it's a bunch of military humans and he thinks he's king or whatever. So he has a screw loose and he's a fat piece of shit. So there's that whole thing. But then his second in command, Rene, immediately was like, that's not human girl. So she must be an elf or some other celestial being, and she's like a spy or something. And Rene immediately noticed it, but she didn't say anything. It's like, why? She said something at the end of the episode, but by that point, they've already gone deep into the plans and stuff. They've already revealed a lot of the human plans. It's like, well, what the fuck, Rene? Or are you not thinking for a second to be like, hey, Kai, by the way, that girl we just met, I think she's an elf. I think she's a dwarf. I think she's a whatever. She's not human. That's a big piece of information. Okay? And then the last portion of the episode is they show, I guess, the elves getting betrayed by somebody, an angel or something. And the angel apparently partnered with the zero magic crazy lady that Vanessa destroyed. So yeah, there's that too. So I don't know, man. Sometimes this anime is just like, it's, you know, it's mid. It's just an okay anime time filler, but it's like, come on, like, I mean, I don't want to be an asshole and be like, take pride in your story writing or something, but like, I don't know what the answer is, but it's just like the author definitely had to have enough popularity and enough people had to have liked it, or a company needed to have seen enough positivity to make it into an anime. So it's either the source material's good and the studio's failing, or the source material is already bad, and the anime or the studio is just adapting what was already there and it wasn't very good. Regardless, somebody needs to take pride in their work, and I just feel like I'm not feeling that. And I know it's really harsh, because like, who the fuck am I, you know, to say anything about that, right? It's like I don't have that talent, and I'm not saying that I do, but as a critic, you can't not say it, especially when those are the feelings that you have. So I don't know, maybe I'm being too much of an ass. You guys let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you guys next week.